Hello, my loves. How are you? We're going to go into those divine masculine messages, and there are some very specific energies that are coming through as the masculines are facing their shadows in a new way. It's bringing up lots of energy of self-doubt, questioning their capacity to share and communicate, but also creating the awareness of those internal tug of war energies. And this is divinely aligning so that the masculines can reconcile those spaces and places inside that have felt split. And this was coming through, I was seeing it in the energies as not only the split from the internal masculine and feminine or the external split from the feminine, but this is also coming through as feeling a split from their higher self to the human self. And what I was seeing was how this connection with the feminine opened up that deep awareness of the masculine's capacity, his higher self, his magical aspects, receiving a taste of his actual energies, of his actual capacity, of the things that live inside of him. And yes, I will say him or her, his or hers from time to time because this is just how the energies are coming through. I will leave it to you to discern they or them or however this resonates for you, because you can always listen to my messages for your own internal union energies. In fact, as this is coming up for the masculine collective, I do feel that many feminines are going through another layer of this as well, which is always an opportunity to deepen those inner union energies. And so I just want to take a minute to tap into it because this self-doubt, the doubt, what's really happening in a sense is the masculines are micromanaging their higher self. They're micromanaging the universe. They're micromanaging the connection. They're attempting to micromanage or were attempting to micromanage their lives, and it's no longer working. And what's happening is a lot of information, a lot of awareness is coming back up. Those internal tug of war energies are resurfacing because the collective in general has grown to a point where these old patterns can no longer stay suppressed. And many of the feminines have embodied so deeply into all of who she is, internally masculine and feminine, or he, again, regardless of how you identify, the feminines have been embodying into more and more states of internal union. And what I'm sensing is as you deepen into the internal union energies, it becomes so much less about the labels and more about the capacity to temper everything that's present. Like, if triggers come up, you're able to sit with those. What is this triggering in me, and what can I reconcile within myself? And many of the feminines have really been mastering their capacity to work through those things without needing to project it onto others or needing to micromanage the universe. And because of this, what's happening is it's now reopening those energies between the masculine and feminine where they both froze off the connection, where they both shut down so that they could process whatever they needed to process. And again, this is happening in the external reflection, but it is also a part of you that was shut down and frozen. And it doesn't really matter how you identify. If you went into forms of separation, something within you was closed out. And these energies seem to be resurfacing at this time for different levels of the collective. All right. So there's an anxiety and angst that's coming up in the masculine collective as a result of this unreconciled information. And what I sense is some of those collective energies we were feeling, obviously always care for yourself physically in whatever way is necessary. But if there was those headaches or the confusion or the cloudiness, the fogginess, yes, we had lots of solar flares, and clearly we have the solstice energy in process, but there's a lot that's thawing out. And again, it's bringing up those internal tug of war energies. I want to, I was seeing where this could unfold as it thaws, as it processes, as the masculines have space to catch up with themselves, to learn themselves, to no longer split their higher self from their human self or their internal energies, right? Like everything was sort of mentally put in different compartments, but now those compartments are sort of thawing out and flooding back all at once. And it's bringing up energies again of self-doubt or sadness, some of those angsty type of energies. I'm gonna I'm gonna go into the cards, but I really want to sit with this because it's been coming up, but I feel like something wants to open here now with you, okay? Because I'm feeling there's something that feels important for any and all of you here with me. There's like a form of a protective resistance that you're being called to relax into, to check in and unravel and release any places or spaces where you may have become rigid in your thinking, rigid in your need for things to be a certain way to feel comfortable, and really surrender into aligning with that highest alignment, really connecting in with your higher self in asking what is actually the most important thing for me to be focusing on. But I do feel very deeply that there is this rigid energy, a very protective, rigid energy that is being broken up. It took a lot of energy to hold it in place, like I touched on in some of my most recent videos. But now it's being divinely broken up, so to speak. This, as I'm saying this, I'm seeing a big tower moment in process. What I'm sensing as I'm saying that is like the tower has not fallen yet, but it's about to. It's on very, very shaky ground. But this actually feels really important because whatever the masculines have built was built on a faulty foundation. And so that faulty foundation is needing to collapse so that they can step into and rebuild the true foundation. It feels important to say this doesn't mean that everything that was built is going to collapse. It doesn't mean that everything that has occurred was not aligned. It just means that the true foundation has not been solidified yet for many of the masculines. And so this, wow, okay, I didn't see this part coming, but that is a part of it because the foundation that they originally built was safe and stable, but it actually wasn't big or strong enough to hold all of the masculine's energy, let alone sharing a space with the feminine as well. Again, this is also why both are called to build and create their own foundation so that they're embodying their own internal true energies so that they can actually maintain and sustain connection together. Wow, I can feel this quite. There's like this combo of like the energies divinely being broken apart because they just can no longer stay the way that they were. It's not sustainable for growth. It's not sustainable for that true alignment of where the masculine has intended to be at a soul level. And so a lot is being shaken up right now. Okay. The, Thanks for like rolling with me. This energy is very much, it's like, again, the tower is ready to crumble, but there's still an energy of attempting to hold it in place. So it's coming through very disjointed. It's just not integrated, but that's okay. It's like everything has to fall and crumble clean out so that the true energy can be integrated. I'm curious if any of you guys have been feeling this in the energies. I know I'm still shuffling, but it's really like a testament to like how you just can't rush or force any of these energies in the same way you can't rush it or force it into place. You also don't get to force it from opening. This is divine intervention. The divine has always been in control. The higher self has always been in control. And we have whale song resonating. That soul song, that true soul essence, the core soul blueprint, the true frequencies of where we're all meant to be, all of us, regardless of how we identify, where Earth in and of itself is meant to align to, is in process at a very massive level. And as long as we are here on this planet, none of us can escape this evolutionary process that's occurring. And with the whale coming through, it's like a testament to those energies. The whales have survived, right? Many changes and shifts on Earth. And there's a very deep wisdom with that resonance of our planet and of the higher power in understanding that really, yes, we have control over how we respond and how we choose to experience our experiences or respond to the experiences. But ultimately, at those higher levels, there's just certain portions that we have zero control over. And as that breaks apart, and as we come into alignment with our higher self and our higher power, and we've learned how to surrender and also take responsibility, not micromanaging the universe, but just allowing things to flow through us and to us, now we're learning how to co create. And that is when the core soul essence, the core soul blueprint, that core soul song is able to be freed from the ice, to be freed from the cement, to be freed from all of those things that were weighing you down in the faulty foundation so that you can be free to flow in a stable foundation, but one that allows the old energies of rigidity, self doubt, and control to dissolve. Not because you're not poised or stable or in control of your own being and your reactions, but because you now are surrendering to the organic flow of the true energies outside of the overlay of the matrix, of the programming, of the distortion. And I'm feeling this at a planetary level, and I'm feeling this at an individual soul level. So, for those of you who have been learning how to surrender and get in tune with your internal truth and temper through your triggers and find your central point and be able to be living on this planet, but not of it in the way that we have known, you're feeling these things, but you've already gone through a lot of your tower moments. And what is coming up is the next wave of the collective that is meant to meet you that is meant to work with you and co-create with you are now beginning to go through a very big tower moment on the other side. And someone asked, like, why does this happen? Why does the feminine go first? Well, the masculine is holding a stability point. Yes, that stability point is still in the old dynamics and patterns and foundation, but in the shared space and the shared connection, you're both requiring some levels of stability in the energies to be able to process. And so the masculine takes one for the team and stays in that space and processes and holds whatever he can there, while the feminines are moving into processing and clearing out the past so that the new foundation can start to solidify. As the feminine stabilizes more clearly in the new energy, in that new foundation and the feminine foundation, that allows the masculine to then go through their tower moments and essentially experience their version of that dark night of the soul or transformative process, the initiation by fire, if you will. And it feels like there is a big portion of the collective that is experiencing that now, which makes sense because on a planetary scale level, we, as all of humanity, went through a massive shift, a massive opening of these energies back in 2020 during the world shutdown. That was when a lot of that was like a collective tower moment. It's also where and when many feminines started to go through their massive initiation. 2020, 21, 22, 23. I know there's a wave of you that's going through it now. I've been connecting with you. So there's more and more waves coming as we're going through this. And there is a big wave of the masculine that are going through this. And what I've been shown for a few years is the masculine collective stayed with the general collective. And this feels to me that the masculines were holding that space again for the feminines to go through their process, but also holding until more and more of the general collective was ready to go through this wave process. Okay, so those of you who caught the first wave, you rolled with it, right? A lot of people jumped off the wave and just wanted to go back to what they knew and what was safe, but everybody is starting to realize there is no going back anymore, right? We're all on this forward trajectory, and there's these collective higher tower moments that are occurring, and the masculines are supporting the collective and the earth by walking through that more deeply at this time. As I'm saying that, I'm seeing this as like this wave and the masculines coming through and like breaking free out of the old container that was suffocating them. And with it is like a rush of the ocean, right? It's like the next wave that's coming forward. This is interesting. I haven't seen this. I know I've talked about January and February being the transition and March sort of being this opening, but I'm really feeling that this is like whatever tower is falling, it's going to be collapsing. And then there's this big, huge wave reopening as we move into the spring. I'm going to see if there's some specifics that want to come through with this, but it does feel that the masculine collective in general that agreed to do this are in the process of getting some very deep divine intervention energy coming into their process, their life, their foundation. Okay, these just flew out, and we have the Six of Pentacles and the King of Wands. So as I'm speaking, here's this confirmation. It feels like the karmic energies collapsing, being completed, a reactivation of that true core soul essence is you can think of this as the foundational seeds of that core soul blueprint are being freed and activated as this energy dissolves and resolves. And as the masculines go through this process, is where they reconcile that internal tug of war. And as this next few months of resolution is in process, it's activating the masculine's power, his embodiment, his passion, and his remembrance of his king energies so that he can step into those emperor energies. But it really feels like really now this is coming through with a lot of phoenix rising from the ashes energy, right? But it's like what I'm seeing is like this wave of the water coming in and breaking down the structures, the rigidity that is no longer working. And it's like the emotion, right? The emotion, the ocean of emotion. We can look at this from the micro to the macro, right? Like what's happening internally, what's happening across the planet. And these ocean of emotion are really breaking up the rigidity of the connection or the foundation that isn't working, but it's revealing the true power, the true natural nature of the masculines. And I really feel as this tower collapses and they strengthen out through the other side. Wow, they're showing me the horses. It's like they regain that power of their true energies, right? Like as they resolve the workhorse, as they resolve the war horse, as they resolve those energies, they can come into that true alignment, learning how to really harness their true abilities. Because many of these masculines who've been operating in the old template, they've really done a wonderful job of creating and building, but they've really only been accessing a fraction of their true power and energy. And so this is going to be a massive opening, a massive tower moment. There's going to be a lot of transition and shift, not only for the masculines, but across our planet. And those of you here with me that have found your stability, where you've been finding your temperance and you've been holding space in those more internal union, stable energies, that is a big part of your next levels of purpose. It's not necessarily to figure all this out if you've walked through it. You may be mostly being called to stabilize and just follow your guidance and to continue to build on that stable foundation. And that's the most positive and powerful thing that you can do at this time during this transition. I can feel again like there is still that resistance and rigidity that's being resolved. It's still in process. So you may still be feeling some of those energies, some of the resistance, some of the angst, some of the sadness coming up. Some of you may be noticing that you're processing old memories that once made you very emotional and you feel neutral about those, but you feel the background emotion. That could very well be because that is what is coming up for your counterpart. Okay. That's really what is coming through. So again, you don't have to try to process something that's not yours. You can acknowledge it, stabilize. You also don't have to close it out. Really, the most tempered energy can just be present with whatever is. Check in if there's something that you need to do. But if you don't, if it's not required, if it's not calling you to do anything, then just allow it to process. Okay, my loves. And I feel like that is a definite potential for some of you here who have been working on your inner union for quite some time. Of course, there's always an opportunity to deepen into yourself in this process. And for any of you who may feel like you want to stabilize more, the Nourishing the Nervous System series is available. And I'm just sending you so much love during this holiday season as we close out the year of 2025. And also at the same time, like opening up to whatever this next phase is and just holding compassion and space and grace for the masculine collective and the general collective and just allowing that next transformation of process to occur. All right, my loves, when there's something for you to do, you will know. All right. I'm sending you lots of love. Everything will be down in the pinned comment. And I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. Take care. Much love.